on Alpha 3. I only hit the tip of it.
Just the tip of it. A perfect entry into this.
That should be the sound bite that you put out.
Shoe Geeks are back, and we're back, and we're loaded with shoes, and just the tip of knitter. We have some good shoes to talk about.
Yeah.
We have some bad shoes to talk about, and knitter will always have some opinions that we're going to hear. Tommy, he doesn't have many opinions, but he's fast at running. That's why we got him on here, knitter.
Well, I heard you guys chat in the main show the other night, and I was just on a cool chat to Adidas with Tommy. So I feel like he's the most marketed runner in Australia at the moment, isn't he?
Just didn't get a sponsor.
Tracksmith,
you don't want a sponsor though, Tommy. You're loved by everyone, so everyone wants to send you stuff. You're the perfect halfway point.
That's good.
What did you talk to Adidas about?
Just the future, what's coming out, and sort of some of their performance line, which is good. To be honest, I saw some things I didn't expect to see. They look really good. So I mean, look, me and Tommy are lucky enough to have some of their shoes in the past few months anyway, which we'll chat about a couple today. Tommy's probably worn them a bit more than I have, but it's been a while. And look, Julian, it's tougher to find them in specialty retail. Adidas they definitely haven't been here in South Australia in specialty retail that much for about at least a decade, maybe longer, maybe 2 decades. So I remember selling them in retail back when I worked at Joggers World in 2005, 6 and 7, the Addy Star range, the Supernova range, but it's been a while since they've been, commonly put against other shoes that you would sell in your shop for sure. So, but a couple of shoes come out recently, and maybe you start with Tom. Like Tom was the flagship for them on the weekend. He was wearing the Evo Pro again, where he finished. What were you overall on the weekend, Tommy? You don't really care. You're just the first Australian.
Yeah, 12th overall, first Aussie.
Yep.
I gave so all the Adidas Evo 1, which is their flagship racing shoe now. They're a really expensive flagship racing shoe and apparently not very durable. But I've actually managed, so they're marketed as only having one marathon in them. But I did Gold Coast in it, I did Sydney in it, and I did City to Surf in it. And I did one other little mini session the first time I ever wore it. And it's just about 100K in. And if you can see here, 100K in, I was actually quite surprised with even just the outsole, essentially not really being touched. And if you feel this outsole, it's phenomenal. It's almost like part of, I think, the feel of this shoe being so soft is the fact that the outsole doesn't feel like an outsole. It feels like just I'm pressing on midsole because it's soft and it's paper thin. But yeah, so outsole's fine. Midsole to me still actually feels half decent. So
yeah,
we'll see. I'll do some strides when my legs are fresh again and see what the shoe actually feels like. If it still feels like it's got some life, but I actually reckon it was fine for the second marathon. Then maybe just a little bit more to go in it. So hopefully there's more to go in it considering how much I spent on it. Didn't get these as freebies, unfortunately. But yeah, so the Evo ones, they were a good shoe. I definitely don't think, I think there's still going to be some people that would run just as well in other shoes. Me personally, this might be, not that I've done economy testing, but perceptually for me, this might be my best sort of shoe that I've currently got or that might be on the market. Just the fact that I've got big feet, it's super lightweight. I like to maintain a high cadence. So this shoe helps to facilitate like that sort of high cadence, lightweight, soft feel, different to like the Alpha Fly, where I know you knitter and a lot of other people who are forefoot dominant, they like that extra pop and bounce in the forefoot that this shoe doesn't have. But yeah, there's a lot to love about it. Like I just love how light it's almost like you're running. It feels like you're running barefoot, but with a super shoe somehow, if that makes sense.
Actually, funnily enough, I tried a shoe that's similar to that, the lightest shoe I've tried. I put it on the scales, and Bryn, actually, who works at One Running, he got these shoes. I'm not sure if he got them from China or whatever, but they were the 361 racing shoes. I don't know if you've seen them. It's like paperweight. The liner inside is, just adhered in, and it weighs, I think, 100. This is a size 9.5. It weighed 111 grams on my scale. So, but I'm just like, I'm not I'm not in good enough shape to wear this shoe. I bottom it out. It's very, very soft on the ground. I'm bottoming out the forefoot really, really quickly. And if I could transition from heel to toe a touch more, I could probably spread the load out through the whole shoe, but I'm not. I'm just hitting the forefoot. So I feel like I'm running directly on the ground. And once again, the outsole, it feels like it's just, almost painted on. And I don't know much about the shoe at all. And the plate's probably the difference is, I'm not sure. You said yours is quite stiff. This is a little bit more flexible. So it doesn't have that same super shoe bounce type effect, but has a really quick roll transition. But the weight of the shoe, felt like the Mizuno Wave Universe, like in terms of like how light it was. So yeah. But no, that's
nice.
There has to be a certain point where it just becomes too light to be comfortable or too light to be performance focused, where you just don't get enough from the shoe.
Yeah, and that's got to it's got to be a ratio for different people. Like Tom's a size 13 foot, like weight's going to be a bit more of an issue for him than it is for everyone else.
Yeah.
No, I think this one, the what they've done with this Adidas one, I don't think they've sacrificed too much to get that weight reduction. I think to do with the manufacture process to get that weight reduction they've done. Yeah, I think they've executed it pretty well. To be fair.
Yeah.
So in terms of training shoes.
Sorry, the production of the foam is such a time-consuming process to get it to where it is. Like they have to basically mill the foam using like sanders or buffers or whatever, almost handmade. They're obviously those ones probably aren't handmade, but just they're not like those compressed foams, and so they just take so long to make. I know there's a certain athlete from a certain European brand that wears the same as the inline shoe. It looks the same, but it actually has milled uncompressed foam rather than compressed foam. And it means that it's got a fair bit more, like a massive weight reduction. Yeah. But each shoe takes 8 hours to make. So it's 16 hours per pair. And obviously they're only doing that for the really high-end athlete. But it's an example of why not every shoe out there is that light. Just not commercially possible.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about some of their
why they're so expensive?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Talk about some of their training shoes, Tommy.
Yeah, so training shoes. So as you said, Nitta, I also haven't really worn Adidas for years. So I've not really ever been a big Adidas user. I've used a few over the years, but I've had the opportunity to try a few, which has been good. And I think they've actually got seems like they've got quite a well-rounded range now, considering top tier racing shoe. And so they've basically got a range called the Super. They've brought back the name, which is an old school name they used to have for their daily trainers, the Supernova series. So they've got 3 models in this series. I've got the Rise, so this is called the Supernova Rise, and basically it's just a simple, basic daily trainer. So they use this foam called Dream Strike, which is I think it's some sort of infused EVA. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's an infused EVA. Yep.
Yeah, so it's that. I think the concept of this Dream Strike foam they've made is a little bit like the foam ASICS has developed in conjunction with using a little bit of research and R&D around just comfort filter with shoes. So it seems obviously people like a soft feel, and so they've made these shoes just quite plush basically. So it's quite a soft foam. And yeah, I really like it. I like simple. So if you're someone that likes a pretty simple, it's not too high, not too low. What is the stack? So the stack of this Rise, I wrote it down. It's 36 in the rear, 26 in the forefoot, 10 mil drop. So I like my pitch. I like my drop. So 10 mils is nice for me. Retail's 220. I've done about probably 400k in it so far. It's holding up really well. Outsole's fine. Pretty flexible shoe. So there's no real significant stiffening elements or anything like that. I'm really enjoying it. So just using it for just the easy commute mileage. I can do it's light enough to do run throughs in it and not feeling too sloppy and heavy in it. And just the one other one from Adidas, which I've only got about 3 weeks ago, so I've probably done just a handful of runs. Is this one? It's called the Adistar 3. Not a very popular shoe, I would say, in terms of I'm not really seeing the previous 2 iterations come into the clinic much. My
remember
wife
the
Lana, she's used.
The Adistar was arranged with the Supernova back in the day as well, and it was the premium equivalent, right? So it was always around about $60 more, and it was slightly higher stack and better foam. And that is the higher stack version. So the Adistars are meant to be like the maximalist range for the Adidas at the moment as well.
I kind of see this. So this Adistar 3, if anyone's worn the previous versions, like the 3 is a lot softer and a fair bit lighter. I think it's 30% lighter.
Yeah.
Which is heaps lighter. The old ones had like dual density, so the older models had like the rear foot had a higher durometer foam.
Yeah.
It worked really well as a prescription shoe for me for like just tib post, like even just a walking shoe. It was firm enough to just be walking in it as a nice, stable, well cushioned rocker shoe. Now it's more of a running shoe, I would say, more of like runners using it for enjoyment and protection and bounce. So yeah, it's high stack. What is it? So I think it's
close to 39, isn't it?
38 to 32. So 6 mil drop. You can feel that. You can feel it's a little bit lower drop.
Yeah.
To me, it's a little bit like it's kind of like their version of a Nova Blast, maybe.
Yeah.
Within Asics range. So yeah, it feels a lot softer and a lot more foam than the Rise and the Supernova Rise. So it's just I'll use it for more recovery days where I feel a bit beat up, want a bit more cushion. I reckon that's where I'll use it. Or if I go a bit longer, if I do like a midweek long run, I'd be more likely to use the Adistar than the Rise.
And just the last one on the 3 stripes, I haven't been wearing as much of the Rise, but I've been wearing this at least once a week, almost twice a week the past few weeks. This is the SL2, and this was the updated version from the SL, and they put their Light Strike Pro, infused it all the way through the midsole, so it feels a more responsive ride. It still feels traditional, Tom, you would say, to some extent. Like it doesn't feel like it's not as like as soft and compliant, but it's definitely a little bit sort of it's quite bouncy, it's quite responsive. The outsole is very industrial. They haven't used the Continental like they have in some of their premium-based shoes, but a shoe that retails $180. This is categorically a daily trainer, but almost like an up-tempo shoe. So this is the jog and strides shoe for me. I find it really, really like accommodating a 4-foot strike really well. It's snappy. It's a little bit stiff. 240 grams, I think my size 10 was. And it runs up to 34 heel raise and the 26 4-foot, so about an 8 mil pitch. So look, it's the closest shoe. Historically, I used to do a lot of training in like a Lunar trainer, or even before then, even the Zoom Elite 4, like this talking 2 decades ago as well, like as a shoe that you would wear for like an up-tempo run or for strides as well. It's the closest thing that I've found to a shoe that's pretty versatile and in fast running and longer running. I haven't worn it for more than an hour, so I'm not sure if I could tolerate more than an hour in a shoe like that. And it's not because the shoe's not built for that. It's just that I'm not built for that because I've been wearing too many high stack shoes recently. But it's a good option as well, especially for junior runners. I've found as well, like not overcomplicated and a bit cheaper and pretty comfortable shoe overall, to be honest.
Yeah, I've got it. I love it. It's such a good shoe. Best one, probably the best value shoe that I've got as well for that price point with Light Strike Pro. It's got a pretty premium feel to it.
Can you walk us through, Julian, like that's a shoe that you wouldn't sell much in specialty retail at $180. That's a shoe. There wouldn't be any shoes that you sell in specialty retail under $200 these days, would there?
Just before I do that, can you just pull your microphone out, mate? Because there's some sort of clicking or clacking. I think it might be a mic whacking your zipper, perhaps. Let's just see it. Just take yourself off mute.
All good.
Sorry. Yeah, that's better. Thanks, mate.
No
so that price point type shoe, it's an interesting category because most people that come in our store are fairly passionate about what they do, and so they're not so much looking at price point options. They want the shoe to give them the best experience possible for what they're doing in it. And if it's going to be a shoe for them for jogging, then they're jogging on concrete or whatnot, then they kind of want the best experience out of a shoe. And they don't really mind if they're paying 180 or 240 or 280. That's just our customer demographic. That doesn't mean that $180 shoe isn't going to be a better experience than a $280 shoe. It's just that they're looking for something more from their shoe these days. Like, I'm sure that if you put that against the Pegasus that's at 190 or 200 or whatever it is right now, then it's going to feel better. Like, it's going to be a very good version of a Pegasus, which is a great entry-level shoe for someone coming out of school and doesn't need a high stack, really soft poppy shoe. But that, I think that sort of category of shoe, it's not competing too well when you have shoes that offer a little bit more underfoot. That's just the area
that's driven by the market, though, isn't it, Julian? That's not driven by like what people need. It's just driven by what's available. Like, if you've been wearing high soft shoes for a long time and you make a change, it's not the same. It's not comfortable. That's what I'm finding. Like, I find that I had to really earn my way into that shoe to some extent because I hadn't done it for such a long period of time. I enjoy it for what it is now. It's funny. I mentioned to Tom, I said, look, I need to have good feeling calves to wear this shoe. Whereas historically it was just a normal shoe, right? So I never used to have good calves to wear that shoe, but now I have to. So, because I've got so many other shoes that tend to unload me without me knowing about it. So, yeah, so it's just a different option as well. I think there's probably still a place for it. It's just hard because, like you said, not everyone needs 7 pairs of shoes, do they, to rotate through their weekly cycle? And I've just found a place for this shoe to feel different for the week, if that makes sense. And it's just not a shoe category that everyone needs.
Yeah, and maybe it is the best shoe for a particular person. And that, like, it's good that there's options there for sure, especially as shoes get more expensive. Like, we are seeing price increases across the range. We're seeing nearly every model go up, and it's not really plateauing. Like, everything seems to be going $5 more, $10 more here and there.
That must like drive the need for companies to want to put more stuff in the shoe as well, to like justify the cost of it. Like, the shoe that I've been wearing for my long runs more than anything right now has been this shoe. It's been the Supercomp Trainer V3, and it's been I think a large update from the previous shoe. It looks awfully like the Supercomp, the Supercomp Elite V4 in terms of design, geometry. I think the rear foot's around about 36 at the rear, and the forefoot's, I think, 30. It's like a 6 mil drop. It's like a 20% PIBA and 80% EVA blend midsole. But gee, this shoe is soft, right? It is comfortable. It's got a stiff rocker because of the plate in the shoe. Makes me feel like I'm a better runner than what I am on a long day. That's what people are seeking these days, aren't they? It's a shoe that makes them probably feel better than what they are and make the job a bit easier. But it's hard to go away from shoes like this now when you wear them so often. But this is the super trainer category, and it sits next to the, the Super Blast, which have we talked about the Super Blast V2 yet? I think you did, Julian.
I think we have. Yeah, I think we have.
Yeah.
That category is the one that's growing the most.
Absolutely.
It's difficult for people to come in and try a Super Blast, which is 8 mil offset. It's actually really stable for what it is, and compare it to shoes that, like, from the traditional category. And then they're also coming out of super shoes that they've been training in for fast days and racing in. So very hard to get your head around movement, like your easy day shoe feeling so boring compared to your race day shoe. We might see it swing back at some point, and I think there is merit in. We don't want people jogging every day in carbon plated shoes. That's probably one thing that we need to
so address. Let's unpack that a bit, mate. Why don't you want people jogging in carbon plated shoes?
Well, look at the position you're in.
Yeah, you're the example here.
Yeah. No, I'm a good example of it. But, like, what happens if the market 5 years, like someone said to me the other day, said if you keep staying in all these shoes, you never go back to a traditional, you wouldn't be able to tolerate a traditional shoe anymore. And I thought to myself, well, like 5 years from now, what if there are no traditional shoes? Like, it won't be a problem because I won't be able to find a traditional shoe to wear anyway. So, I mean, is it a problem? I mean, do I need to be just truly adapting to wearing these shoes for the rest of my life because all the shoes are gravitating towards that? Like, I'd
Where
say
does it end?
Yeah, I
Where
don't
does
know.
it
Like,
keep going up and up and up and up and up?
yeah, I mean, I've now got this repertoire of shoes. Like after a fast session when my calves are sore on a Tuesday, and the Wednesday morning I get up and I mean, I know you don't wear it as often, Julian, but I wear the Neo Vista, the Mizuno Neo Vista. That shoe offloads my calf more than anything because it's got that sort of the rear foot and forefoot rocker. The most prominent part of the shoe is right in the midfoot, and so it makes me midfoot strike a lot more. So it just unloads my calves compared to all the other shoes, which means I can run on a Wednesday, and it just offloads the tissue that's sore and slightly fatigued. And suddenly I've got this repertoire of shoes that's just allowing me to to run more. As you know, even though I'm 39, I'm not recovering quite as well between runs, but some shoes are allowing me to do that. So, but consequently, I'm not probably, conditioning calves quite as well by wearing more traditional shoes. So when I have to earn, it's harder for me to wear a traditional running shoe or a spike now, purely because my exposure is lower. But Tom, you're still wearing traditional shoes quite often, aren't you?
Yeah. I think it maybe just historical strength, like growing up. I think with that, I think it might be different now, like people getting into running or not. Well, yeah, younger people maybe, but I think I grew up with it. I can still tolerate it fine. I've never fully removed them from the rotation because I quite like the feel of that lighter weight, slightly more minimal feel. So I never really want to. Yeah, I don't want to remove it from. I'm also worried that I don't want to head to that slippery slope that you're in, where you struggle to to go back. I think there's still there's merit for people to. It'll be different for everyone, but having something relatively less cushioned through the week, as a variation in load for the body.
Absolutely.
I've been getting that in the past with my trail shoe, so with the Terracotta, but that sort of died on me lately, and I've ended up back in a bigger shoe for the trails too. Yeah, it is just it's limited by what's available in the market.
Right. Yeah,
like we just don't have many options there anymore, and it takes a real education and someone to buy in to be able to have them get a second shoe for that purpose, or even wear a minimal shoe for a dog walk one day or whatever. It's a fair investment.
The biggest, just on that, like the biggest thing, because I'm saying it almost daily in clinic, like the biggest thing that's changed, I think, in recent years is that running shoes for the utility of walking has changed. You would see that, Julian. Like you're not, the running shoes that are out now, they're much better suited to running than historically. Like you could use Asics Kayana for everything, or walking the dog, going for a jog. Whereas now, like the shoes you walk in should be probably quite different to the running shoes, like just firmer. Yeah.
The
Which is
rear
harder
foot
to
of the
get now.
shoe
The
is
walking shoes are harder to get.
and it's all at the back of the shoe, and we're seeing so many rear foot rockers, and we're seeing such low dense foam that people just totally crush the back of the shoes.
Unstable.
And while we're on that market, like I'll just show you one shoe. I'm not sure you guys have much exposure to it. Do you know what this guy is?
You love that. Balos.
Yeah, it's the Balos. It was a celebration of foam shoe for New Balance, and they put their Fresh Foam X or their PEBA based midsole through the whole shoe. But you can see that that real, if we did the cheese board test on that rear foot rocker, really soft, and it is tricky to walk in, for example. Quite nice to jog in at low intensities, and I found it quite good on trail because I bottom it out so much, right? So I bottom it out straight to the dirt. But if I put it on the bitumen, I feel the road a lot. But this is a shoe that I think it's hard. I mean, I'm probably not even tolerant enough to wear this because I bottom out the foam, even though there's a lot of foam. There's so much. But as a walking shoe, you'd almost the knees locked out into full extension wearing this because it's got such a rear foot rocker. And it's the first time I've worn a shoe where I was sort of jogging in because you compress the rear foot. It's so far away from the ground. I had a little bit of hamstring origin symptoms a couple of weeks back. So, and it's sort of cleared since, but I just used it for a couple of weeks only. So it's a fun shoe to jog in. It's low intensity if you don't want to feel anything on your foot, but hard to walk in.
Yeah. Well, we can go into a couple of shoes that are in that sort of maximal. That's not a maximal shoe like these are maximal shoes, but I've been running in two lately, and I've got threes here. This is just this is one from Asics. We've seen the Glide Ride, and then the Glide Ride 2 and 3, which were very different from the first Glide Ride. And this one here is the Glide Ride Max, which is in the same family. However, it gets a fairly significant update. The main difference in feel to me, the cushion and where the rocker sits in the shoe. So this is one of the furthest, the most rear foot rockers that I've felt in a shoe. It definitely feels like it starts further back, and then you're entering in that position of propulsion a lot earlier through your gait than the previous one, which I found was really late stage rocker. And this also has this very soft top layer of foam, this Flight Foam Blast Max, which is uber soft up top. So a very soft initial first feel, but then as you sort of sink into the firmer stuff, there is some stability below it. You've been wearing this shoe, haven't you, Tom?
Yeah, I really like that shoe. To me, it feels like like a slightly more propulsive. Or obviously, it's rocketed with a plate. So it's like a propulsive Nimbus.
Yeah.
It just feels really plush, but not unresponsive. Like it's more responsive and rocketed. If you want to make your easy days easier, that's kind of the shoe. A little bit like the Neo Vista might function in that way.
It looks like Julian's just run off to try and fix his dog up, but the
Poor
sole
dog.
or the
Release your dog, mate. Why have you got him caged up?
and the outsole of that shoe, or the surface area, looks very much like the Nimbus 26. It's got a wide surface area. To outsole looks pretty similar. And you're right, that rocker is really proximal on that shoe. It goes a long way back. Whereas remember the Glide Ride 3, it had a lot of toe spring at the end rather than the rocker being as aggressive. And so I found that, we were obviously prescribing the shoes like the Glide Ride. I remember the original more for 4-foot arthritis, big toe arthritis. But I found the Glide Ride 3 really struggled in that area because the toe spring was so aggressive at the end. It forced the big toe into like a dorsiflexion. But this works better because the rocker goes further back. It starts well behind the first MPJ and it's more gradual. So this is going to be a shoe that becomes pretty therapeutic as well to some extent for those people with forefoot pain and midfoot pain, just as that rocker. So it's good. And look, they've got rid of the concavities on the outsole of the midsole, so it's quite stable and the surface area is quite broad. Don't know what the weight of the shoe is, but it's a pretty safe therapeutic shoe now by the looks of it.
Yeah, you've done a good job.
It's been fun, and I think it's going to be one of the easiest shoes to sell in store, given how soft it is at first feel.
Yeah,
how
is it?
Is it out?
Yeah, it's out. It's out. Yeah. How is it compared to let's just say an easy selling shoe now is the Ghost Max 2. The Ghost Max 2 is a slightly firmer Ghost Max 1. It's more stable. It's a little bit higher density foam. Categorically, it sits into that, therapeutic shoe as well. Is this one it's obviously on the softer scale, maybe a bit more dynamic, or is it pretty similar in nature?
I think it's a little bit, it's for a lighter person.
Yep.
Ghost Max is very solid of a shoe. Like it's one of the most solid shoes we have. It's very stable. It feels like it's got some sort of like a higher degree of medial support than this shoe does. I don't think this is very stable medially compared to the Ghost Max 2.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel as gutsy. This one, I think, this softness on top feels superficially soft. And Ghost Max 2 has a broader surface area, so it's a bigger shoe, more stable. This might feel better for lighter people and especially runners. I've never felt like running in my Ghost Max 2, but I definitely in this.
Not like Croaks who loves running in his Ghost Max 2. I can't believe how well he runs in it.
It's amazing when you're just so naive, you just don't even know. You just run in anything. Like you would put fry pans on his foot and think they were good if they were free. The other shoe, I think it actually launched today, maybe, or it's like coming up. It's called the Glycerin Max. So obviously we just talked about Ghost Max 2, and that has the new DNA Loft 3, I believe it is, in the bottom of it. This is a new foam from Brooks called DNA Tune. You can sort of see that call out there. So just the silhouette, you're looking at a bit of a monster type shoe here, like super high stack. It's got a very broad profile underneath. You can see up close there's a few like columns through the forefoot that give a little bit more compression, so it's very soft through there. The rear foot, I'll just show you There is a column that makes it soft through the
So
base.
walk me through that. So that's got all the cushioning closer to the ground with the columns, whereas the Glide Max has like more cushioning superficial at the foot. So
Yeah,
this will,
exactly.
So this will feel firmer on the foot then. This Brooks or
This feels firmer but bouncier. That's what I get from this. Like I feel springier in this shoe, and it has to do with the foam too. So this DNA tuned, it's a nitrogen infused foam. It is two different types of foam cells within the shoe. So there's a higher rebound foam found in the small cell foam. And then as we get to, I think it's towards the rear foot, perhaps, it's a little bit more like a large cell with not as tightly packed, so it's more cushioned.
it looks flat. It looks flat, Julian. Looks like there's not a lot of curve in it. Walk me through
in
that.
the shoe.
Yeah.
It's got a fair bit of toe spring there if you're sort of having a
Toe
look.
spring looks there at the tip, really late.
It's like a late
It's flat
rocker.
through. Yeah, it's a very, like, I've walked in it and I've run in it. It's very high and it's a very big shoe. Like when you sort of look at it from behind, you can see how much midsole there is there. And then as you get through the forefoot, like running on a dirt road, my initial run, I was tired and I was a bit sluggish. And this upper, it did not hold me in the shoe well enough for how cushioned the shoe was. Yeah, and how high it was. And I felt very unstable in it. But then I ran the next day on some road, some concrete where I didn't need that structure through the upper. And it actually, it really improved how I felt in it. And I was a little bit more snappier off the ground and it started to feel quite good to me. The one thing to get right is their lasts. Like the shape of the shoe is always so good from Brooks. The heel cups are always great. Fit through the midfoot, never any pressure for me, and then just really nice toe boxes, good upper materials. They get that right so well.
What's that
This
retail
is one of
at?
the most aesthetically pleasing Brooks I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It's getting there,
nice.
isn't it? Yeah,
It's nice.
I think so.
What's it retail at?
Mate, give me 1 sec on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, they haven't
It
even
looks,
hit
looks expensive.
Yeah.
glycerin. They haven't hit.
As soon as there's a Brooks label on it, mate, it looks a bit expensive.
What are we comparing it to?
Surely just comparing it to, it's trying to be a super, it's like a Moore, isn't it?
It's like a New Balance Moore, but the foam is so much better.
Bouncier, yeah.
Yeah. The foam is bouncier and it's a little bit more snappy.
Have you guys tried the Moore V5 yet? Like that looks
It's
bigger.
350.
350. Okay, yeah, it's not too bad considering the super. What was the Supercomp Trainer V3? That was about 330. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, yep, got it. And the super Blast is 320. Is that right?
320.
Yep,
correct. Yep. And then you got Neo Vista 320.
Yep.
What else sits in this sort of category? Hyper Monster. It's not a different shoe.
Not really.
Yeah, different shoe. But yeah, this 350 is going to be pushing it now, I think, for a non-performance trainer because this isn't like a Supercomp trainer. Supercomp trainer, I would put on and feel faster in. I don't feel faster in this shoe in any way. This just feels like a really cushioned jogging shoe. Yeah. And yes, you're getting a lot of tech through this new DNA tuned foam and you're getting a lot of foam overall. I think it'll be really durable, a lot of outsole. So it's going to be a really durable cushion jogging shoe, maximal shoe. It's pretty stiff. Like you've got these full like vertical outsole pods where they just don't give much. Plus 45 mil of stack, which means you're really high and really stiff.
Yep. So, Julian, one question I have for you, like this, when I was selling in retail, a Kayano and a GT 2000, similar to like a Brooks Adrenaline and what would it be? Brooks Adrenaline. What was it? Beast? They sold really easy historically. These shoes through here, are they a tougher sale now, or the traditional is still coming through? This is the Asics GT 2000, the 13th version. So it's a light. This shoe. It's light. It weighs about 240 grams on my scale. I'm not sure if you've worn these, Tom. You wore the 12th version, didn't you?
Yeah.
The 12th version is not much different to this one through here. They've given it a few millimeters in the forefoot and the rear foot through the whole shoe. Still use the 4-foot Blast. The only difference is this midsole, this sidewall is a little bit like it's been shifted a little bit from the like closer towards the midfoot back towards the rear foot, that subtaculum tali region. You can feel it a little bit inside the shoe. I don't feel it much, but if you're slightly flatter foot, you will feel a bit of sidewall pressure. They've made the shoe a little bit stiffer, and they've done this by creating a slightly higher convexity of the outsole material through here. So this shoe felt better to me when I was running a little bit at pace on the balls of my foot. I bottomed out the V12 version pretty comfortably. I don't quite bottom this one out, but after about half an hour or so, you could feel the ground a little bit more in the forefoot. But is this like selling this shoe compared to Kayano now, Julian? I'm assuming you just, if someone wants a stability category, you're putting a heavy person into a Kayano and you're putting a lighter weight person into the GT 2000. Is that really the only criteria difference between the two?
Yeah, and some people are chasing that more cushion feel, and we're even using the Kayano like a maximal shoe with how stiff it is through the forefoot as well. This shoe won't hit that mark. This might go. I don't think we're selling many Kayanos to runners, to be perfectly honest. I think it's just a bit too heavy and bulky.
Are you selling a GT 2000 to a runner?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I ran in mine the other day. Actually, I quite liked the feel. I liked how solid it was. Yeah,
it's solid. Like you could do jog and stride in this as well now. Like you can comfortably do that, which really surprised me. I don't feel the pitch. I think it's 8 mils pitch now. I think they always historically were 10. It does feel a bit. You can feel a bit lower pitch to it, but it is light. It's nimble. It's okay on trails as well, and like multi. You know, if you go on a run where you've got multiple surfaces, it's actually quite accommodating. So great surface area with that small little sidewall. I mean, that's currently where stability is, isn't it? You know, a wide surface area with a bit of sidewall. That's it.
And it's not like the deviators in the community suddenly stopped running, or everyone just became this beautiful, stable gait pattern. We still need those shoes, and we like pronation may not be the causative factor of all the injuries we thought it was, but it can still exacerbate certain injuries. And so it could be the difference between someone being able to train with a 20% more mileage and someone and being injured.
Well, so, Tom, I saw an ASICS shoe the other day with Duomax still in it. Do you know which shoe that was?
GT 1000? I don't know.
Nah, it was a cricket shoe. Fast bowling shoe, the women's specific shoe. So they're still trying to put in some, Duomax into some place. Whether I actually think they could, with a cricket shoe, they could remove that and they could just increase the surface area because they've got that large cutout on the medial port and they put the Duomax where the cutout is. So I think they could just fill it in like they have with all these shoes through here, and you'd probably have a slightly better outcome. I think it's been working well. But while we're on an ASICS shoe and we're talking about cutouts, you guys both have this shoe as well. This is the performance trail shoe from ASICS, the Meta Fuji. I think I got the stats through here. I've got it around about 270 grams at my size 10.5. The rear foot is meant to be 44 and the forefoot's meant to be 39. If you look at the aesthetics of it, depending on where you measure it, the rear foot doesn't look quite as high as that just before the forefoot area. And the plate, can you describe the plate here, Julian? Like it's not the same as a traditional plate that's in the sky or even in the edge?
I believe it has a prong through it. So it's more flexible around.
So it's meant to be able to torque a little bit through different planes, but it is a very stiff shoe though. It is hard to bend at all in the sagittal plane, let alone side to side. But the one thing I'll say is that, like, if you are running on a fire trail with not much deviation, it does feel like the sky, or like actually probably feels more like the edge, Paris, more than likely. When you start to turn around the corner, I'm not sure about you guys, just the surface area on the rear foot to the midfoot was is so stiff, and this is so narrow. As soon as you would turn a bend or go into a slight, cavity or a camber, it did feel like the rear foot was almost coming off the inside part of my heel or the outside part of my heel, depending which way I was going. So I mean, the foam feels fantastic under the foot when you're running fast, and then that feeling of that foam being magical when you go around a corner sort of becomes not as important when the shoe feels like it's almost coming out the back of you or coming off your foot a little bit. So it's just a bit too stiff, I reckon.
Yeah,
this is the challenge that Trail's having with trying to get a performance shoe. You can't just make a road shoe.
Would it be better without the plate? Would it be better?
Yeah, I think it would be.
Yeah.
I agree. So I'm
Yeah,
running it. I'm
could fill it.
running it, and I was very scared of doing my ankle because the first few little sections I rolled my ankle several times, and I felt very unstable in it. Also felt like the heel didn't lock down very well. Like I was a bit gappy
It's
back
because
there.
it's so stiff as well. The heel,
Stiff,
yeah.
spot on. Yeah. The
And
heel
stiff
counter
and
is so stiff, the forefoot stiff. As soon as the forefoot gets locked, the heel counter wants to remove itself. It almost needs to be more mobile at the heel, fill in the medial part of the shoe, take the plate out, and I think you probably got a winner. You could probably drop it down a couple mils actually, because the turbo is actually really resilient foam. You can probably drop it a few more mils actually if you wanted to.
Yeah, you could. There's something out there, and it's a mix between what a trail shoe used to be and what a racing shoe is at the moment on the roads. But these are all too geared towards road geometries, I reckon.
Yeah,
that's just what I'm feeling. Yeah.
Then maybe the outsole. Like I like the Asics grip. I loved it on the Tribuco Max, to be honest. This one here, there's a little bit like further separations between the lugs. It's sort of not quite as grippy as I thought it would be. But we've got the Uniloop in Adelaide, which is just a dirt trail. Like you could run fast 1K reps in this shoe on that nice, well-groomed fire track and have a good outcome. But I don't believe that's what they designed the shoe for, but that's probably what I would use it for.
Yeah, there's too many other shoes better than it for that.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I would purposely use it for. Yeah.
The Hocket Tecton X has been great for me on trails. Like it is so smooth underfoot. It doesn't feel unstable at all. I feel very confident when I'm on very rocky terrain. The Vibram light base material that it's got is perfect.
Yep.
And somehow that sock-like upper with the heel cup just fits my foot so well. I'm really happy with it.
That's good. So what are you excited about coming up, Julian? What's coming up that you want to talk about?
What is coming up, actually? So later in the year, we've got the Zoomfly 6 from Nike. Now, that's getting a very good update. That's going to enter the super trainer realm again. Like when it used to be the king of that area, it's going to really come back into its own there, and it's at a very good price too.
It geometrically looks like the Alphafly 3 a little bit.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't have pods or anything, but it's got the shape. Looks like it's got that cavity under the forefoot, like in order to get a little bit more out of the foam and the compression of the foam.
What is the foam on the 6? Is it Zoom X? Or?
I think it's a combination, Zoom X and not sure what the other foam is. Probably that Cushlon 3 that they have in a few of their models. But it's it looks good. I think I saw a second round that production doesn't look like it got the upper that I wanted it to. It looks a little different through the upper material, which I don't know. We'll see how we go. But I really like the first image that I saw of it. It looked a lot softer in the upper. How about I just reel off a few more shoes that are dropping?
Yeah. You know what's happening.
To get myself in trouble. Before we get to December, which is when a couple of newies really drop, we're going to see. There's a new Adrenaline coming. We can't talk too much about what's going on, but it's getting the new foam treatment. 1080 V14. So that's
soon, isn't it? Surely that's soon.
Yeah, that's October. So 1080 V14 gets a higher foam density.
Good, needs it.
Yeah, it's more stable. They've filled in some sidewall areas. I actually have a wear test kit here because we're doing a launch.
Is it throughout the shoe? Is it like the durometer of the foam getting denser from all the way through, or just one part?
Yeah, the whole way. So it's it feels smooth. Like I put it on before. It's definitely more resistant to compression. Felt like the upper is really nice. Yeah, I'm going to go
the upper in B13 was nice as well, I thought.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And that's what sells it. It's so nice on the foot. It's so comfortable. It just didn't last very long.
No.
So that'll be fun. We're gonna launch that shoe in Torquay here at the new store. That you haven't pumped up enough for me at the moment.
Well, we can see your logo down the bottom.
That's where you are now, is it?
Yeah.
Where I'm sitting in the upside. The warehouse.
Is that the other side of the shoe wall?
No, I'm upstairs here. I'm
Is
upstairs.
This closer to home for you now, Julian, or is that is Torquay closer than Geelong?
Yeah, it's like 25 minutes to here and 40
Yep.
minutes to Geelong.
Gotcha.
But somehow this feels longer. I mean, it feels shorter than it is because you don't have any traffic getting here. Yeah. I got a new treadie in. That's been fun to run on. Ran on it once. It's a different sort. It's a pre-core 8.8.
So how's it going to work down there? You're going to, sell a 1080 with a surfboard, or like is that the sort of market that's down at Torquay, or?
It's hybrids down here. It's peg trails. It's cloud surfer trails. It's shoes that can.
UFOS, a lot of UFOS down there as well, no doubt.
I'm not sure UFOS is fashionable enough for here. I reckon you sell a bit more of the Teva range. Tevas is down here. Something you can go do a bit of rock hopping, walk the dog on the beach, cruise through the cafes, go to the pub. Yeah. But yeah, we're excited. Once we open up, you can see it all. What do you got coming up? You got shoes on the way that I don't know about?
Look, I've got, you guys have received it already. I've got the new Mizuno super shoe on the way, I think, according to, I don't pop into the clinic till Friday, so that'll be it. I've got the Adistar 3 that Tommy's been wearing, so coming in. And outside of that, Zara received a few ASICS shoes the other day. She's got some of the Noosa Tries, which she loves. They're purple, so nice wide surface area, low pitch, sort of fun foam shoe. Just a little bit too big for her, one size too big, but she'll grow into them. So, what are your girls? What are your kids wearing, Tommy?
The boys got a GT 2000.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And
sad.
Popsy's got some sort of Nike. I don't even know what it is. Downshifter or something, probably.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. But Leah's got like really flat feet, and he complains of like sore ankles sometimes after school. So we've got him the GT 2000. And to be fair, he's actually complained less the last couple of months since he's had them. So there we go.
What's Pia wearing?
Pia's in like a Nike. I think they're called the Infinity Flow.
Okay.
They're just like the old. They're an Infinity type model. But they've been really good too, and she's got some like keen boots that she'll walk out in the bush in.
Oh yeah, nice.
Haven't got her any plated shoes yet.
We got a email or a social message the other day for someone chasing size 4 cup plated shoes, and. You're like, well, how old would that be? How old's Leo? What size is he?
Yeah, he's a 4. He's 8 years old.
Yeah. So can you imagine getting him a pair of like Vaporflies or stuff?
No. I need to get him a new pair of waffles.
Oh yeah, cool.
Just
we got the new one coming. It's cool too. I'll sort you out.
Does that go gangbusters for you this time of year now, Julie? You start selling a few of the Air Victory 2s, the Dragonfly 2 and Elites, etc.
We sell a ton more of those closer to the Christmas, like into the track season. But right now, the little athletic stuff, the rival multis, because they grow out of them so quick, and they're only $100 to replace. So we do the Nike range. We do ASICS Firestorm and Hypers, the Puma Evo, Evo Stars. I think
the waffles are good. Like the latest waffles have a bit more of an anatomical toe box. So
absolutely,
I'm a big fan of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I went to Launceston for the cross country, and I ran the Masters, and I wore the On Cloud Amplius. Like they're really high stack. Which I think now is illegal. Like I'm not sure if it's this date or I think they're about 23.5 mils at the rear foot. So I think they've changed the standards to sub 20 mils for all the shoes for 800 meters plus now. And it was just far too much shoe to wear on that Launceston course. Like as soon as you ran up the hill, like your whole ankle went missing anyway. So the shoe was completely obsolete for that course. Besides wearing spikes and obviously running on the canvas. But I tell you what, if you put that shoe on for 10K track, it is a true old person sort of Masters quality track running shoe. I reckon it's. I saw a few wear it at Paris in the 5K and the 10K. I'm not sure what it's like compared to you have the Sidious as well. Is that right? Sidious must be legal shoe, must be below 20 mils. But gee, it felt closer to the Cloud Boom. It felt closer to their Echo Boom 3 than it did the On Spike 10,000. It felt more like the actual trainer than it did the track spike. So the first spike I put on that felt like an actual like a road racing shoe.
Yeah. It's when I went over there, it seemed like that was the favorite of the most of the athletes from On.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like feels like a Vaporfly to some extent. Yeah,
that's good. Cool.
Yeah, but obviously it's gone now. So whatever you've got left, you'll just sell it to those few lucky people, and that'll be it. No one's really checking the standards of the spikes at that level, comparing a Sidious to an Amplius at the start line, for example. Like if you went to Zatopek and you wore the Amplius, like how would you not get away with that? Who's specifically checking the Amplius versus the Sidious besides the orange color paint on the top? So now I say that, someone probably will check it. But yeah, that's the sort of shoe you get away with comfortably, I reckon.
Yeah, I got no idea how all that works. I've never been in that world to worry about it.
Yeah. What are you going to wear at Zatopek this year, Tommy?
Zatopek? Jeez.
You'll run Zatopek.
I don't think I'm in. I only really want to do. You only really want to do Zatopek when you're going to run a 10K PB, surely.
You'll be close to that. You got until December, mate.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'd be in Dragons, no doubt.
Yep.
I'm not as adventurous with my spikes as you are.
Dragon Elites?
Oh, far out. They look good. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
Is there any difference? Again? Is there any difference to the two, really? Besides weight, there must be a little bit of weight change.
Oh, they look good, mate.
They look good.
It's flashy.
Look good. Yeah.
They definitely got that. They got it molded spikes in them. Like, what do you call it?
4 spikes. Four infused spikes. They're not you can't take them out, can you?
Way stiffer too.
Yep.
Shoe just feels way stiffer. Yeah. All right, fellas.
Nice. Okay.
Good to catch up with you all.
Absolutely. We should do this more often.
We'll do it again in another 6 months, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we'll make sure we get it done. You boys just so hard to get locked in.
That was my bad last time, I think.
That was good. Hopefully next time we'll all have a pair of Pegasus Plus to discuss.
No chance, I think so.
They've been in the mail a while. They'll get here. Don't worry.
They will.
They'll get here.
Fair enough.
All right, boys. See you later.
Okay.
Have a good day.
See ya.
Oh.